So, it is time. Lacy, your past.
Okay, so I'm gonna say the first few years I was with these people, they weren't so bad. But let's say, let me go to the very beginning of when my biological father took me to the park one day, handed me over to this man named Michael, like Mike for short,
Okay,
and
hold on, let me write that down real quick. Michael is guardian.
yes,
That's for, okay. Do you have your parents' names so I can, put them in the file as your biological parents' names so you can, if I wanted to, I can track them down or something, figure out what happened?
he kind of can't track them down, they're kind of dead, but,
Okay. Look at their names, but, so I can,
my father's name was Lucas.
Was what?
Lucas.
Lucas?
And my mother's name was Lucy.
Lucas and Lucy, parents of Lacy. Do you have a last name? Because I'm assuming it's family name.
I actually can't remember my last name.
Last name unknown.
Yeah, I just
Would
the
you mind
longest.
then? Would you mind then if we do last name unknown and then put an AKA behind it? Like, for example, since your name is Lacy, I think a fine last name for you would be like, I don't know, like a good first middle last name would be like Lacy Elizabeth Keno.
Yeah, something like that.
Keno, last name is Keno. Keno makes movie theaters, so I'm gonna do like movies. So Lacy Keno, your parents will be unknown. Your name will be Lacy Elizabeth Keno. According to this file, if you don't remember, you might as well take the name. Okay, so we have that added to the file, and I'd like you to go slowly to a point because I am going to be typing this out as we go on. So
Okay.
continue, but don't not too fast.
Okay. Well, so my father Lucas handed me over to Michael, and I was 4 years old.
4 years old. Okay.
And I was really confused about what was going on. And he just handed me over, said bye, walked away, and it started pouring down rain as soon as he handed me over. And so I was like, this isn't right. I shouldn't be going home with this man. I should be going back with my dad. So I started screaming. And Michael kind of told me a lie just to get me to calm the fuck down. He's like, he'll be back. I'm going to watch you for a little while. My mom was very sick at the time. She had, I believe, I actually think she had cancer at this time. So she couldn't really fight back too much. She was in remission, but still very weak.
I'm assuming that Michael was a family friend of your dad's. That's
yes.
Kind of about to say. Okay, so this is a circle of friends. I'm gonna put this down here that it was a circle. It was a family abduction, basically.
Yeah. So Michael took me back to his house, which was in the middle of fucking nowhere. His wife, Linda, very sweet. Their oldest son, Peter, was my age, 4. And then their little daughter, Lily, was 2.
Okay, let me put this down. Lived in a 2-parent home, 3 children. Lily, age 2, Peter, age 4, Lacy, age 4. Parented by Michael and
Linda.
Continue.
So I was really scared. I knew Peter for a pretty long time before that. Like, we've always really hung out. So I sat on the floor crying, screaming, I want my mom. Of course, but then again, once you go to a new person's house, isn't really the first response that comes out of a child's mouth is, where's my mom? I want mommy. Yeah, that was me.
That's a common. So you were a relatively innocent child.
Yes, I was not so much of a daddy's girl. I was a mama's child. I wanted my mama, and that was it.
Well, being that your father abandoned you, I would assume he wasn't the most caring man in the world.
Nope.
Okay.
I can remember from a very young age, even at that young of an age, he had drinking problems, and I'm pretty sure the reason why he handed me over to Mike was he couldn't support me and also take care of my mom with her cancer.
So, you were given up as a matter of convenience.
Yes,
There wasn't really real animosity towards you.
No.
You could have been loved, but this was I'm assuming that being that they were close enough to abandon, it's probable that Michael had put up a mask in front of your father. Maybe your father knew he was an awful person. I do not know.
My father did know he was a pretty bad person, and he did not care because not only would my dad also, my dad wouldn't always, he never came over after that, but I remember one day him taking me over there to see Peter, and Linda dropped something, and Mike goes off, and then my dad joined into it, and I'm sitting there thinking, my dad's fucking psychotic. Beating on a little like 29-year-old.
I'm sure those are the words you used because you were young, but basically.
Yeah, no. That one realization you realize, my dad has mental problems.
I'm going to put this in a file, and correct me if I'm wrong. Patient suffers from abandonment issues.
Yes,
I assumed.
Yeah. Abandonment issues, bullied issues, being deceived.
I'm assuming that you have a lot of self-hatred and such because of the fact that you really aren't the same person due to these scars. You have scars in your throat that you can't really hide, arms, back. If you looked at yourself, and I'm sure that you were changing, you see things that you never wanted to see.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming memories and trauma come along with each scar that you feel or see.
Yeah.
Patient suffers from flashbacks.
Oh yeah, and they're very vivid.
Very bad.
Very. A lot of the time when I do have flashbacks, I always end up curled up into a corner on the floor crying like a little 2-year-old. Just because I'm a killer doesn't mean I don't have emotions. I do. I just hide them very deep down. I try to avoid them.
That's a true statement. Though it's not true at all. I would say that people like, for example, Jeff, have emotions, but they're very
deep down.
They're very deep. Depth there. They're buried so deep that you couldn't get them out without some high quality machinery.
Yeah, no, you'd have to be drilling at this. You'd have to be drilling at Jeff for a very long fucking time to get him to actually open up to you. Which is really surprising because when I finally did join, it took me about 2 weeks to crack him.
Interesting. But that is a story for another time.
Yes.
We'll use that. But let's continue with your past. You were in the planet for.
So the first few years I lived there were pretty okay. After I first arrived, I'm like, okay. I started getting used to my surroundings. It was okay. All of them comforted me. He gave me a little teddy bear and was like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And I'm like, okay, maybe this guy isn't so bad after all. And it was like that for the first, 3 years I lived there. Then it slowly got bad but was still pretty good.
Alright.
I was 6 years old, and this was right before it got real bad. But we lived like 15 miles from town. Our closest neighbor was 5 miles down the road. We lived literally in the middle of nowhere, country as can be, forest surrounding it. Nice little
So
place.
your surroundings were no one can be in space, no one can hear you scream, all that alien.
Basically, yes.
Alright.
It had its ups and downs. It did have its ups and downs. And also we had a lot of wildlife that also came by. And surprisingly, you'd think a little child would be scared of a giant grizzly bear. No. I'm not scared of animals. Animals don't scare me. Truth be told, I'm like Snow White.
Growing up surrounded by animals would make you less fearful of those animals.
Yes.
For example, if you grew up in a zoo, and you were constantly exposed to tigers and bears and wolves and such, those animals would be family. You wouldn't see them. You know how to deal with them.
Exactly. So there was this one bear that wasn't okay, and that one bear was very mean. He was, honestly, I think he had rabies, because me and Peter one day were sitting by the edge of almost to the edge of our property line, which is about 20 feet from the house, by the forest edge, sitting in a little meadow picking wildflowers for Linda. And we hear this low mumble growl. And we just ignore it, and then it growls again. It starts to get our attention, and we're like, what the hell is this? We keep ignoring it. Then it got to the point where it was not even 2 feet behind us. That's when we realized we need to turn the fuck around and see what the hell it is. We slowly turned around, and lo and behold, there are these giant yellow eyes staring back at us. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Have yellow eyes. You don't commonly have yellow eyes, so it was like suffering from liver failure, if this was the case. And that would mean that it did have some kind of disease.
Yes.
So you are correct on that. That was a very sick bear.
Yes. So they were just staring into, I felt like I was being ripped of my soul. It's just staring directly down at us, two very small children.
So it's similar to I don't know what it's called, but it was a concept in ancient Japan where people would feel they were being stabbed in the chest, but they would look at a soldier with killing intent, intent so strong you can feel you can feel the intent.
Yes, you could feel this, like the tension that was in that air. You could feel that this thing was not friendly. The bear was not friendly, and it had intentions to kill. It was not going to come just to see us. It was here to kill us.
You were paralyzed with fear.
I wasn't paralyzed with fear. Peter was, and I'm like, it's fine, Peter. I just took my hand and I placed it on his shoulder like it's fine, and he actually unfroze. Well, the bear stepped out, and if you've ever seen the movie Brave, then you know the very big black grizzly bear.
I watched that with my daughter.
Okay, well, this bear was the exact same size as him.
I'm positive, ironically, we watched it last week.
Well, yes. Well, then you know how big that bear is and how...
Huge.
Yes, that's exactly how big this bear was, and it had a lot of the same character traits to it. There were arrows in it, fur patches, some of it missing. Like, this bear has suffered a lot.
at the hands of humans. So
Yes.
it's going to have great animosity.
Yes, so it hated humans, and it really hated kids, and I don't know why. Like, we're kids, we don't do anything to it.
This is what I would assume. I would assume that it has been attacked often because of children, like people protecting their children from it, so it has
Probably.
Or if it had children that were killed, it was like, if I can't have children, you can't either.
Something like that. Well, it slowly showed itself, and the literal words that came out of my mouth was, oh shit. Because I knew at this very moment of how small me and Peter were, and that we didn't have any weapons, and Mike was at work, and he should be coming home very soon. Linda was in the house with Lily. Linda couldn't fight off this giant bear. She also was terrified of weapons. She didn't like them. So that fucking sucked. So we had to wait till Mike got home. So my little self stands there in front of Peter and was like trying to calm the bear down. I don't know how, but I sensed that it was in distress. I honestly don't know how, but it was in distress, and it was like very tensious. And I'm like, it's okay, I'm not gonna hurt you, we're not gonna hurt you. Trying my damnedest to calm it down at age 6 years old. Then the craziest thing happened, and I swear to God, when I stepped back and it stepped forward, and I could have sworn it had the most evilest grin on it. Just plastered itself onto its face, like the grin gave.
I know there was a. This is going to be a short story, but there was a bear. There was a bear that attacked my car at one point in time. And long story short, it scared the shit out of me. And when it saw my wife laughing at me, it winked at me. I swear to God, it winked at me.
Oh yes. Okay, well this bear done the same thing, except for it wasn't winking. It was giving it a very evil grin, like you.
It was that. It was like you know you're gonna die, right?
Exactly. It was like mocking me, like you're about to get yourself killed. And I'm sitting there trying to be brave and a little badass, which I was not at this time. I swear, if I wish I knew all the stuff now about animals I did back, if I would have known all the stuff I know now, I would have ran into the damn house instead of trying to calm it.
You would go back in time. You want to go back in time and look at Lily, you would be like, run, kids, run.
Exactly.
Take Peter's hand and run.
Exactly. I do. Because I don't know if you can see this or not, but I actually have a 3 claw mark scar from the top of, from the very bottom of my right side of my rib cage going all the way down to my left hip.
I actually always assumed that, because if you look at it, it's kind of darker skin than normal. I assumed that was a birthmark.
Nope, that is from the bear bringing its claw down, slicing.
I thought you were just born a badass with a badass scar.
No, sadly. So that happened.
Can you imagine it's like a 3-ring, like a 3-claw scar over one eye, but it's a birthmark, but it looks like a scar, so you're just born with that badass appearance.
I actually have met somebody that had that, and everybody's like, "What the hell happened to you?" And he's like, "It's an actual birthmark."
I was born a badass. Do you not
that was actually his exact words. Was I was born a badass, and I'm like, oh dear God.
He whipped out a massive katana,
and I'm just like, fuck no. I was pretty young when that one happened, but I'm like, fuck this. I'm going home. I walked my tiny self home in the damn rain. Anyway, back to story. So it was grinning at me, and then it brought one of its paws up. I could see the claws on it, which were about 2 inches like
those
long.
long-ass claws.
Yes. And they were very sharp because I just watched him scrape them against a damn tree, and I'm like, I'm about to die. Exact words that come out of my mouth. Peter, I love you. We're about to die.
Do you want to hear a funny fact about bears? You probably know.
Hmm.
A bear's physical strength has never been accurately measured.
I know.
The last test of a bear's strength was a cub behind a dumpster, a full dumpster, and the mother bear just flips the dumpster with ease. So we have never been able to accurately gauge their strength because we've either put something way too heavy for the bear to move in front of it or something too light.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. It then brought its claw down, scraped all the way from the bottom of my ribcage to the left side of my hip, and when it done that, it knocked me off my feet, and I went flying backwards, and I landed on Peter. Well, I told Peter to stay very still, and he did. The bear was not interested in him. He was interested in me. Of all the people, me. And I'm like, okay, this works. I'm just gonna die by a bear. That's a nice way to go out. Good story.
I think it's like the bear sense weakness. Like, I mean, you were 4 years old.
I was 6 years old at this time.
Okay, 6 years old. Let's put it into real perspective. Have you ever met a 6-year-old girl, average 6-year-old girl, and average 6-year-old boy, and thought to yourself, that 6-year-old girl, I bet you can bench so much more than that boy can.
Nope.
Like, the bear probably recognized the physical difference. Like, Peter would probably, I'm assuming I'm right on, but I'm assuming Peter was stronger, the faster, maybe less agile, like jump rope shit, but he was like on a straight on run, he was faster than you.
Yeah.
So it would be harder for you to get away. So it would be like, I better take out the weak one, because if I go for the fast one, and don't get it, the slow one's gonna get away.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So he came over and knocked me completely off Peter. At that moment, I told Peter to go. Like, leave me and go. He's sitting there screaming at me, no, I'm not leaving you. And I'm like, damn it, stop being a hardhead and go to the fucking house. Literal words here coming from a 6-year-old swearing like a sailor. Mike pulls up not even 2 minutes later, and I'm like, you cannot have perfect fucking timing. He gets out, sees Peter screaming, and then sees the bear he's literally trying to pounce on me, and I'm slowly moving back, leaking. Just backing up every time, and he's like slowly trying to do that little dive they do. Have you ever seen them, like the Alaskan bears, when they like go and they start trying to with a salmon and they like pounce on the heads?
Yep,
that's what he was trying to do to me, and he landed on my leg, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, kicks him in the chest. Surprisingly, I kicked him back about a few good inches for me to actually get up on my feet and crawl. I crawled, he just like whacked me over into a tree, and I'm like, fuck you. He, like, I swear to God, this bear started fucking laughing at me. Like, I hear this, like, grunting sound, and I swear.
Oh, can I pause you here for a minute? Are you sure that do you believe in God, like a Christian?
I do.
So why would you put fuck in the same sentence as his name?
Because I can.
Point taken, we got a badass over here.
Yes. Back to story. So that happened, and he, like, the bear just starts grunting, and it sounds so much like a damn laugh. And I'm like, you're actually laughing at me. You are literally laughing at me. And I'm just like laying up sprawled against a damn tree, and I'm like, well, this is not gonna be a fun way to die. I then hear guns going off, and lo and behold, I turn around and I just see the bear like looking over, his, like, the facial expression is, I'm very pissed off. What the fuck just hit me? Turns around and Mike is standing there with a 12, I think it was a 20 gauge shotgun at the time. He had like all of his shotguns laid out with Peter holding them all in his arms. And he's constantly shooting this bear. And he puts about 15 rounds in him before this bear hit the damn ground. It took 17 shots in this bear to get him to go down, and then another 3 more to make sure he was damn dead. One strong-ass bear.
This seems like, this whole story sounds like a David and Goliath story. But the only difference is Goliath, David had help.
Yeah.
Goliath, yeah.
So, he kills the bear, he picks me up, runs me back to the house, puts me onto, knocks everything off the kitchen table, sets me on the table, and starts wrapping, like, he poured his Fireball whiskey, and that hurt like a bitch, but it cleaned the infection that I was about to get. Poured all of it onto my wounds, and then put this antibiotics that we had, packed it full, and then wrapped them. I hurt so bad for the next 3 weeks, but I was fine.
Continue, never mind.
So, I hurt for a while, but I was fine after that. And then that's when things really started getting bad. So, about 2 months after that, 2 months after I turned 7 years old, it got bad.
I'm going to stop you right here.